Hudson Valley Knits podcast. I am Amy. I am called Memers66 on Instagram, and I am Memers on Ravelry. So thank you for joining me. This is episode, I think it's 114, and today is Wednesday, February the 5th. Thanks for stopping by. I was not planning on doing a podcast, or I shouldn't say podcast. I wasn't planning on uploading a video to YouTube this week. I was going to try, but I have to pack for a trip. We're leaving on a trip Friday. It's a really special vacation. It's a family vacation, so one of my sisters is going with her husband, one of my kids is coming, and her boyfriend, and then my parents are going to be there. And then, of course, Mark and I. So I'm super stoked. We're going on a cruise, and we're leaving Friday. That's 2 days from now. So I have to pack, and I also wanted to finish my taxes before I left, which I'll probably try and do tonight. But anyway, I had a little extra time today because we had an ice storm here in St. Louis, and I worked from home, so I am actually recording this during my lunch hour. I want to welcome everybody and thank you for joining me again. I have a couple of finished objects to show you, and I also have 3 new works in progress. So that's why I wanted to show you. I don't know if I'll get a lot of knitting done on the cruise. I'll probably be busy swimming and just being with my family. My parents are going to be there, and they're up in years, and I don't know if I'll have any chance to spend time like this again with my parents. And so I'm going to use most of my time to really be fully engaged with them. So anyway, let me start by showing you, talking about what I'm wearing. Now, I want to say Curious Handmade. It's not Curious Handmade. This Handmade Life on YouTube, and she made a color craze shawl, and My So-Called Handmade Life is, by the way, the name of the YouTube channel that I'm talking about. But she made it the same shawl, and her, like a few other people, have it's not always easy to figure out which is the right side and which is the wrong side. So I wanted to just show this. I wanted to wear it, and I wanted to show it real quick. This is the Color Craze shawl by Tammy Gore, and it is knit with a homespun house kit and a few other yarns that I pulled from my stash, and just to make it a little bigger. But I just wanted to show how I wear it and how I blocked it. So here is my cast on. All right. And you're looking at what I consider the right side. Here's the cast on, and here's the cast off edge. So you can see that this is definitely what I consider the top of the shawl down here, and this is what I consider the bottom of the shawl, the cast on side, because it forms the little crescent shape that way, see, naturally. And so, yeah, that's the cast on in the bottom, and here's where I cast off, and you can see it formed a really nice crescent shape for me. So I don't know if it has to do with one's row gauge, how well the crescent pops, or how obvious it is, but I know that some people, and it's probably because she increases so quickly, some people did not know. Now, I'm not going to wear this for long. This is one of my favorite shawls, though. I did hold this double with Molly's Fresh Sheets mohair silk, and it makes for a very bouncy, thick, and very soft and very warm wrap. And I usually save this for the much colder days, which if I were still living in New York, it would probably be every day. But St. Louis is a little milder than New York, so some days it's too hot to wear this in the winter. Above 40, too hot. Degrees Fahrenheit, that is. But, I would say anything below 30 degrees Fahrenheit or, a bit below freezing is great to wear this outdoors. Keeps me very warm and cozy. And then sometimes, not often, usually I'm rather warm in the office, but sometimes in the office, if I've worn it to work, I'll throw it on if it's a little cold. But generally, the office temperature is fairly consistently warm. Perfect, if you will. So I just wanted to start off showing that. And then let me show you my first finished object is my Christmas Eve cast on, but these are socks designed by Danny George of Little Bobbin Knits, and it is the iced sugar cookie socks. I might be getting that wrong. Let me pull up my handy project page on Ravelry. Iced sugar cookie socks, yes, by Danny George. And I knit the main part of the sock is with hedgehog fibers, twist sock, in a colorway called Winter Thaw. And the heels and the accent and the toes are all knit in a Lorna's Laces Soulmate sock yarn. Color is called Jelena, and it's a beautiful pink. And then I did hold just this design detail. I held it with a mohair double, with a mohair, just to make it a little fuzzy. And I absolutely love them, and now that I've shown you, I can wear them. I haven't worn them since I finished because I wanted them to look nice. But here they are on my Patricia Sock Blockers of Knitography. She used to have a video, but she's actually just recently recorded a couple of videos, but she makes these on her farm, out of wood from her farm. But I don't use these to block socks. A little secret. And she tells you how to do this, but it splinters a little, and I'm constantly having to get a file and file them down. So I just use them to show, and I absolutely love them, and I would still buy them. So that's my first. My second is a shawl, or rather a wrap that I finished, and that is this one, which I love. Thank you to everyone who gave me some hints on how to get those carry colors better. You can see some sparkle to this. That's because the art yarn, the beaded silken sequence is in this. And a little fuzz. So this is knit with numerous art yarns. Some are held together, some are a bulky, heavier worsted weight, and it's all in the chevron pattern, and you carry, you knit both from the top up, and then you join it in the middle here with a 3-needle bind off, and I love it. This is the kind of wrap that we'll do on most days here in the winter and in the office. It's not too heavy or thick, and it's so extraordinarily soft. Art yarns are just really, really soft, and I love her colors. Pink is my favorite color, so unabashedly, I just love this. So again, this is the Shivago shawl wrap by Irish Schreier. Shivago shawl by Irish Schreier, and she is the owner of Art Yarns, and that is my other FO. I will say that on most projects that require striping, I'm not usually very happy knitting. because unless it's a Fair Isle or stranded knitting project, I don't like carrying yarns up the side of any project. I like striping as a design feature, but I don't like it as a knitting, because just so many ends and bleh, and it makes it for a knot. And you can see like sticking up there are like all the snipped off ends that I had to weave in, and ugh. I don't like it, but this was worth it. I don't know if I would do it again because of the striping. I don't know if I would basically knit something different with the yarn or something. I don't know. I got it at a discount. It was a kit, and it was a good price, so too good to pass up. So that is the FOs. If you've watched previous episodes, I still have not sewn the buttons on that other cardigan. Sorry, I just haven't gotten to it yet. And my yarn is all stuck in my headset. So, let's start with these smaller whips. I like to finish things before I start them, so I made myself finish the shawl and the socks before I cast on any new shawl or new socks. It's not easy. But the way I got away with it was I cast on a pair of fingerless mitts. I think I showed these last time. I might have had just like a bit. This has been crazy. So I need to give credit to Romy Hill. There's a pattern for fingerless mitts that she put out that I love, and it's called the Maya mitts. They were part of a seven small shawls ebooks that she does every year, and this was like an extra pattern, only to people who bought the whole club or whatever it was. So I had knit a pair for my aunt years ago, and I loved the pattern. I loved how they came out. I think I showed a picture on my last podcast, yes. So I couldn't make it work with the yarn I had. I really wanted to use my merino Angora blend. So this has got Angora bunny fur in it, and it is so soft. And I get this all the time. I got this, this vendor goes to Vogue Knitting Live usually, and she also goes to, in New York City that is, and she also goes to Rhinebeck. And I think this I got from her in Rhinebeck, and it's kind of washed out because I have a very bright light on me. But here you can see it better. I also got this yarn from that vendor. It's kind of pink, it's more pink than purple. But I really wanted to use it for mitts, more like indoor mitts, and something to wear when my hands, when I'm indoors and my hands are cold. So I wanted them soft, and I wanted them luxurious. So what I did was I figured out my gauge with this particular yarn, and I cast on enough to be able to use her repeatable stitch pattern that she used in the Maya. And I also did a tubular cast on and knit the mittens from the top down, which is how she does it in her pattern. The only thing I didn't do is I didn't use any of her shaping. I didn't use her gauge. I had to use a totally different gauge. And then I didn't do any of her lace or beadwork. What I did was I found a lace edging from one of my stitch dictionaries, and I just added that at the bottom. And it kind of looks nice both ways. So this is the one I finished. I got this part done. On this one, I actually knit it too far. Ooh, way too far. Well, it's going to be a little higher than this one, but I don't care. I had to knit the thumb and join that in, and then I'll just keep going. And I'll do that before I leave. I'll get the thumb joined in, so This would be good plain knitting. So I got that. Again, very heavily inspired by the Maya mitts by Romy Hill, but definitely not the Maya mitts. If that makes sense. I haven't knit much on these since I last podcast. Just a few rounds. That's it. Because I cast on a pair of socks. I think I might have thrown it away. I'm not even using the pattern sheet anymore because I'm just looking to see if I threw it over here in the pile that you can't see that I kind of hid. Yeah. Oh no, it's in here. Oh no, this is even more. Here's the socks. This is from the ebook, and I think it's called 2018 Socks. But let me just check while I got you on the attention. The pattern is called Arising, and it's by Linda Dubeck, and it's from the book. Come on. Socks 2018 by Making Stories. It's a ebook only. You can buy the pattern separately. I loved every pair of socks in this book, and I'll tell you, I know Lani magazine has put out a 52 pattern sock book, which I did not purchase, and very, very pretty confident I never will. One reason is I have all the socks in this book still to make, and another reason is I also have socks from Curious Handmade to make. I have socks from Hunter Hammerson I want to make. I have so many socks to make. And what makes another thing that made a difference to me is that it's all in a hardcover book, and I can't knit a pattern from a hardcover book. I need a copy in front of me, and you know what it's like to copy a page from a hardcover book. It's very difficult, so it just wasn't worth the trouble. But I'm telling you, some of those patterns look so beautiful. I really want to make them, but I just can't get so many. Look at all the books. I got rid of like half of my books before I moved here, and I still have too many books. And then I have all the books that I got when my friend Sandy passed away. So anyway, this is Arising. I'm knitting it with, the main color is from Sprite 966. She is Helen. She also has a YouTube channel, and it's the color is Plumple. It's plum and purple. And again, this is not, that's actually a better representation of the color. I love it. I won it at the end of the year, and she gifted it to me. As a matter of fact, this is also the bag she made that she also gifted me. I love it. I'm using that with some leftover sock yarn from, you know what, I'm not sure. Like, I just took it out of I have a basket full of fingering weight sock yarn that I use on my little cozy memory blanket, and this was in there, and I thought it would look good. So there it is. Let me just put this down. Oh yeah, it's better. So there it is. It's really goes good together. Once I cast on and did a cuff with 64 stitches. That's my usual stitch count for socks, and then I went up to the stitch count of 66, which is what I needed. It took a couple of goes to get the right gauge, but so on the picture, for the sizing, what she does is she just adds stitches in between the cable motif, but the picture, the one, yeah, which I don't have the pattern anymore because it's memorized in my head, all the cables are right next to each other. Oh, and by the way, it's a toe-up pattern, and I'm knitting it cuff down. I lasted about 2 seconds toe-up, and I'm like, no, I can't do it. I just don't enjoy it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't like it as much with that space between the cables. If I had known What I know now, I would have just put the cables together and put all the extra stitches next to it. But it's all right. No worries. I still love it. Arising. So that is my sock going with me on my vacation. May or may not see a lot of progress in this. So if I don't podcast again in February, it's because I didn't do hardly any knitting during my trip. Let's see. The next thing I cast on, which I'm also really enjoying, it's kind of simple. I'll be taking it on my trip with me. That is the Stephen West shawl, Cable Bliss. It's part of his, he just published some winter, was a club where you purchase it, and then he releases a pattern every week. I can't believe I did that too, because a lot of his stuff I don't like, and then a lot of his stuff I absolutely love. This one I absolutely love. It's going to be kind of a fade. He calls it his West Knits Winter 2019-2020. So it was just, I think there's a lot of patterns. It was such a bargain I couldn't resist. So 9 patterns. And I want to knit actually at least 2 of the shawls. This one in the mohair mixer, and then I love the bubble cowl. But everything else, probably not. I like the hat, but I don't. I have enough. I have woolly worm head hats. That's what I'll knit if I'm going to knit a hat. So this I am using my stash of La Bien-Aimée merino singles. Let me get that out and show you. I bought this for a different 3-color shawl that I ended up never knitting. I'm starting with this pretty little pink, and then I'll be feeding into this, which I think is called Dough. I don't remember all the names. And here's the last one, which is more purple and gray. And here they are together. That's too much light. And let me show you what I've knit so far. Here's what I got so far. Hard to see from there, but it's just really, really nice and memorizable. Just really simple. You can't see the cable much, but it's really intended to add texture and not just be like a bold feature, which is one of the things I love. I have the bands in here, so I'll tell you the names of the yarn. So Flora is this pretty pink, and I think this middle one is Dough, and the darkest one is Fauna. So that is my newly cast on shawl. So one of the things I did avoid casting on was a sweater, and that is because I've been waiting on my daughter. We were going to knit the May pullover together, and she swatched, and her swatch was way, way too loose, so she had to order new needles. And we would work on it on the weekends using Zoom for me to help her, but she hasn't reached out, so I don't want it to be any kind of pressure on her. It's just, excuse me, when she's ready to knit it, I will knit it with her. If she doesn't want to, I've decided I have to have something on the needle. Sorry, I had to take a little drink there. So I've had in my queue for forever the Lovitch pullover by Marie Wallin, and I have a huge stash of Shetland wool. A lot of it's just from me when I designed that cowl. that is a free pattern, by the way. If you want to knit a Fair Isle cowl, I have to look up the name of my pattern. I'm pathetic. I forget what I called it. Sorry. It is called, it's not, oh, the Awakening Cowl. And there's 3 colorwork combinations you could use. And like I said, it's a free pattern. So go help yourself to it. And it's under Hudson Valley Knits as the designer. And yeah, that's my niece in the picture. And I have a lot of leftovers from that and other Fair Isle projects that I've done. I also got a whole bunch from my friend Deb, who, Deborah Tomasello, some of you might know her. She's also a fabulous designer, and she does a lot of colorwork designs, and she destashed a ton of 2-ply Shetland wool to me. I don't even know what a lot of the colors are. So, now I'm doing it as I go. And there's so many modifications. So let me just show it to you first. I'm knitting it top down. It's written bottom up. I'm knitting it top down because of gauge problems. I had a hard time. I was not able to get the right stitch count. I swatched in 3 different sizes, and it was either too small or too large. So I settled for, I think, 28 stitch count for 10 centimeters using US 2.75, and then I'm using, I think, 3.25 for the color work. Yep. And I went down to a US 1 for the neckband because I don't like neckbands that are like out to here. I like them, I don't even know if I can get this on. I like them like this. This is actually a nice size neckband, right? So, and then the other reason was that at that stitch gauge, my row gauge was super off. So I might have to knit more rounds before I will have be at my armholes. Let me see if I can get this on. Don't know. I can't see you. I can't see anything. I just got new glasses too. Oh shoot. Well, I can't stretch it out because it's on the needles still, and it'll come off the needles. But this is kind of how it's going to look. Just using colors from my stash. I think you can see it pretty well, but I'll give you a close-up after I put my glasses back on so I can see what I'm doing. Oh, there you are. Alright, here is the middle of the back with, you see my little gnome guy down there, right? And yeah, so I really, these are not my typical colors, but it's what I had. Well, I have so many I could have used, but I wanted something different. You know, I didn't want to use the same old colors. So I started with, and I'm going to cover the charts and just show you. So this is, oh, I think I'm covering it enough. These are the colors I used for the first chart, right? No, yes. Nope, that was the second chart. And then here are the colors I used for the first chart. Nope, that's the second chart, yes. Let me show you. So I started with, and I'm only on the second chart. I've already did 2 rounds of repeats. So for this motif, it's this color, which I'm currently using. So it starts with, here's the colors. these for. This is the main color of the body, and then these three. And again, this is not colors I usually gravitate to, but it looks good. And I started with this little band at the top you can see right here. That's with this very, very dark purple, almost like a blackberry color. And the neutral background. So that was the first. And then there's like this arrow motif. Let me leave that. And that I did with green and a more grapey purple. I know the purple's getting kind of washed out. Let me turn this off. Well, it's still getting washed out, but I think you get the drift. Let me show you. That's this part here, right here. I actually think I'm going to leave that light off so you can see, right here. This, and I'm holding it upside down too. Then I went to do, there's an XO, and this one has a little subtler contrast, and that's with these two colors. So the same one I did the band with, and this kind of, very hard to describe, but that's accurately displayed there. Almost variegated, not really, but this is, I'm not sure what the colors are because I don't have the bands for a lot of them. This is how I got them from my friend Deb. Then I did this small transitional band right here, and that was with the color I used in the beginning, and then I introduced this new color maroon. So I used them together for 2 rounds, and now I am knitting another, you can't see much of it because I've only got, like, I think I'm on the 3rd round of, yeah, you can't really make it out, but that is basically a forest green and this very kind of orangey color that I used in the first repeat. That's mostly yellow. You can see the hint of orange in there. That's this. So that's what I've got so far with this. I'm really enjoying it. I have not picked the colors for the other charts yet, and then what I do is, instead of following those teeny tiny charts that have symbols, I use my pencils and I make my own chart out of graph paper and follow that. It's working out really well. This is a easy pattern to reverse engineer because instead of, it's just easy to figure out how to, you know, increase evenly around. It's just easy. I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to give too much away. And yeah, so if you like to knit top down, you can go ahead and knit top down. I also wanted to make sure, by knitting it top down, I wanted to make sure that my neck hole was a size that I could live with. And that's it, my friends. It's time for me to get back to work. Blah. But I'll see you again after my cruise, and I'll tell you all about it if you want to hear it at the end. And check out, now I don't usually have a lot of activity in my Ravelry group, but there is a thread there. If you are interested in doing a log cabin square swap, please sign up there. I have 4 people so far, 2 in the US, 2 in Great Britain, and we're going to make one for everyone in the group because it's small enough. And then you'll have a really unique log cabin blanket that's made by people from all over, beautiful special friends. So this is my first one. I'm going to start the next one when I get back. I thought about taking some yarn with me to make one for the cruise, but I just said I'd have to I have this big bag I should show it to you. Here, these are all my worsted weights. This is more of an Aran weight. Here's the pattern. It's a free pattern. We're using Log Cabin Scrap Blankets. Free pattern by Stacy Perry, verypink.com. I made this with my old knitting group from New York. We made one for our friend who was having chemo. My friend Sandy, many of you know Sandy, who sadly didn't make it, but it really was, even with a lot of different gauges, as long as you can get close, and I think I listed the size of my square in there, within an inch, you'll be fine. Because when we sew it together, we had a couple of ladies that knit really tight, and it worked out because with one who was extremely tight, I just put extra rows of black border, and you couldn't tell. So, I mean, I have so many, and these are left over from that Shivago shawl, so these will be in a square. I just have a lot of beautiful colors, and I'm putting one or two handspun in every square I make, so that's kind of nice if you spin and you don't know what to do with your handspun stash. Throwing it in, there's more handspun, throwing it in this Log Cabin blanket and sending it to someone makes it all the more of a treasure. There's some more handspun. So yeah, please check that out if you're interested, because I think it would be great. And there's no real deadlines. It's just when you get one, you mail it out, right? That's it. So anyway, I do have to get back to work. And thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. I will talk to you soon. Bye. Hi guys, I'm back. I just figured it's the end of the day, and I figured I would come in here and just, because I still had it all laying out in the guest room on the bed. Don't mind all the bags. There's even more over there. But this is my Shetland wool stash. Some has labels, some are just little leftovers. But yeah, I've tried to separate them here kind of by color. Oops, that rolled off. So here's some purple, some blues and greens. I have very little reds, I noticed. This is more of an orangey color. There's some pinks and kind of peachy colors, and there's all my neutrals. But yeah, these are all the colors I have to choose from. There's some darker, more neutrals. That's a sweater's quantity I just bought from the Woolly Thistle. And some of it's from Schoolhouse Press, and some of it's from Lost City Knits. It's just, and most of these, like, skeins like this, that have no labels, and are just, like, you know, scraps. Those are from my friend Deb that she gave me, because she was cleaning up house. So, yeah, this is my stash. I'm going to try and use it for other things, too. But, gotta get the door. Bye-bye.